Hello, Gabe Teran from the Oxnard City Council, and I am here to go over the January 18th, 2022 Oxnard City Council Agenda. I know typically I'll have a presentation to show you that summarizes everything. Today I have the actual agenda, but I have a very specific reason for that, and I'll go over that in a little bit. So first and foremost, you can see here the first page of the agenda, and it lists the instructions on how to join and leave a public comment for the virtual meeting. So I hope you'll pay attention to that if you'd like to speak on any item. Then we have a number of things going on throughout the meeting. First, we have closed session, followed by an appointment item at 5 p.m., as you can see there on the Brown Act. The Brown Act is around open meetings and requires agendizing of the meetings for the public to review and review the associated materials, as well as for them to be able to comment on the meeting and what they have there. And it also prohibits council members from discussing the items at the meeting outside of the public view. And so we'll be talking about that, and just it's an annual training that has to happen with the city council as well as the CAGs. And so you'll be able to learn a little bit about the Brown Act when you see that, and we bring it up often so you can hear about that. All right, so then we have the usual city manager's update around the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as talking about our local businesses that each council member will mention as being featured during that portion at the end of that update. And then there's also a list of the city manager approved contracts dating from July 1, 2021 through December 31st, 2021. Then there's a number of items on the info consent agenda, and we have a couple of police department resolutions commending officers who are retiring. First is Raymond Wilsones, followed by Brian Bishop and Brett Smith, all three who've dedicated a number of decades of service to the community. So thank you all for your service. Then you can see we have an item from the fire department, well, a couple items from the fire department, and then some routine items that came to the committees first, and then are now coming to the full council on the info consent items. And if you'd like to find out more about them, you can find out by going into the staff packet. So we then have an appointment item, and the city manager has asked that our federal and state lobbyists provide a presentation on what they've been doing on behalf of the city of Oxnard at the state and federal level regarding funding or any number of issues that are happening at those levels that would affect the city, or advocating for the city to be able to get carved out some of that funding to help us at the city level. So you'll be able to see live presentation on that because it's done by a consultant and not city staff. Measure M does not prohibit the presentation from being done live for the public. So you'll be able to see that live presentation that evening. Then we have a public hearing on a proposed development on 5th Street between Patterson and Victoria at Portofino Place. And this is to construct 45 structures that will be condos. And since there are multiple condos per structure, it'd be 90 units that they'd be looking to construct there. So you'll find out about that as part of the public hearing. Then on reports, there's a number of reports this evening as well. There's one from a consultant who did, who's going to talk about trees within the city of Oxnard. Now, trees within the city, there are tens of thousands of trees throughout the city that are city-owned trees that the city is responsible for maintaining. And that has been a hot topic because of the reductions in budget in past fiscal years. And there's also deferred maintenance around some of those trees, as well as looking at the appropriateness of some trees planted in particular areas. So it's a really great presentation. It already occurred at the Public Works and Transportation Committee a couple weeks back. They'll be doing this now for the full council and for the public to view again. I highly encourage folks to check it out, especially if you've wondered why trees went a while without being maintained, or why a certain tree is planted in a certain place, or what the city plans to do about trees in the future. So take a look at that, and you can see the, again, because the consultant's providing it, it'll be done live because Measure M cannot prohibit a live presentation from a consultant. So you'll be able to see that done live. Public Works is going to be doing a report on the clarifiers and sludge basins out at the treatment facility. So you'll be able to see that. There's a Measure M video attached to it as well. Because this one is done by staff, contrary to what I just said, or in contrast to what I just said about the consultant report, when city staff are doing this type of presentation, Measure M prohibits the public from seeing that. So if you want to see that presentation, you have to see it ahead of time. All right, so please don't forget that. And then lastly is a report by the fire department requesting $2.6 million for the replacement of a couple of fire engines. And they'll talk about that as well. You'll see a presentation pre-recorded for that for the same reason as I just mentioned, so you can get that background information. All right, so the reason I want to show the agenda is because you may notice these blue boxes around here. I will share a link in the description of this video on YouTube. And what you can do is you go to that link, you can download this agenda for yourself. And I've actually made these into links. When you click on them, it takes you directly to the item in the packet. So that way you can look through it and read the background, see all the information that's there. You'll see the presentation in a electronic form by the staff, and be able to get all the information. And so I did that because this particular agenda, for example, is over 800 pages in length, and just wading through them might be a bit much. So like you could just go to any one and click on the little box and it'll take you to that particular item. All right, well, thank you very much for tuning in, and I will put the link in the description. If you have any questions or comments, put them down in the comment section. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Take care.